In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the damn Packers doing it again, beating the Bears. But first, like thank sponsor, this Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You get to see the stars of tomorrow at family-friendly, affordable prices. So make sure you head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, this sucked.
Yeah, that ending was brutal. Right now I'm feeling a lot of different emotions. And it's funny because the way this game started, I thought we were in for an embarrassment because the first half was just some of the worst football they've played all season. And all of a sudden, they find themselves clawing their way back. And you saw the passing game start to function again. You saw the run game start to work. I mean, nothing was working in the first half offensively. And all of a sudden, you put yourself in a position. The defense really wasn't very good today. They let up a lot of big plays that just killed you. And to an extent, that is what it is. Because you're injured, you had a surprise injury right before the game started, and you're still lacking in a number of areas defensively in terms of defensive line and pass rush, which we'll all get to. Um, I like the fact that the Bears fought back. It was just a real gut punch way to end it. And it's a feeling all too familiar against that team, but at the same time, I think I could say Bears teams of the past, the way they started that first half, they would have lost that game 38-10 at Lambeau Field against that team. And I don't want to play moral victories, but I think I could sit here and say, you know what? There's more for me to take away in a good way than maybe I thought there would initially be in a loss the way this was shaping up earlier. It still doesn't mean it doesn't suck or sting.
Yeah, it's just, it started off really poorly with the offense not being able to play, and the defense struggling to stop the ball. And they got the interception on a drive that Green Bay was really marching down the field. And then finally you got started getting some offense, but the defense just I don't know what it is against the Packers. The Packers find a way to scheme guys wide open, deep.
Well, I think the problem is that you were playing man to man with Christian Watson, and Christian Watson is very, very quick. He's very fast, and he was just burning you on multiple occasions. I mean, he burned Jaquan Brisker, he burned, I think it was Kevin Byard. And when that happens, it's like, okay, that's a foot race a lot of guys are going to lose. And when you're playing man to man like that, that's the risk you take is when you're zone, you obviously allow a cushion, but at least you can get in front of some of the plays where with man to man, you don't allow that cushion, but if they get by you one on one, they beat you. Guess what? You're burnt toast.
Yeah, we saw that with CJ Gardner Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. He had the pick, but after that, it was not his best game. And I think it's one of those things where Matt LaFleur outcoached you today for much of the game. I got to give it to Ben Johnson. The way he adjusted in the second half, really well done. But man, defensively, even though he had a few stops in the second half, you let them beat you in the trenches, straight up.
The
And there
the
were some big plays at the end that turned the game.
the I mean, just think about it. Had they been able to just make that tackle on the running back from the Packers when they would have had to kick the field goal, and at the end of the game, you're kicking a field goal to tie.
Right. I mean, he was getting tackled for like a 2 yard loss. He ended up getting 21 yards. That was the huge play right there. That's what made a big difference.
It's it's just frustrating. You finally figured out what to do with Micah Parsons because he just kicked your ass. He kicked your ass today.
Yeah, he did. And that's what I was worried about. That's exactly what I was worried about.
And eventually you started running at him, which is literally what I said to do last week. Run at him. Tire him out. Don't let him pin his ears back. Um, and the Bears finally found success. I have a feeling we're going to see a much different game in 2 weeks. But today, the Bears didn't play well. Plain and simple. Caleb had a really bad game, and he was under pressure a lot of it. Um, and there was a couple times where you're like, why didn't he just run to pick up that first down? Like it's just frustrating. And uh, there was a couple times where he slid and got hit, and they don't throw flags. Drives me
No,
crazy. There
there,
was the
there's no
one.
consistency there.
There was the one where he picked up the first down and then they threw the flag, and then they're like, oh, he didn't get it, but he was sliding, giving himself up, and they're like hitting him. Like, how is when you give yourself up, it's you give yourself up. Like you're not supposed to hit the quarterback when he gives himself up.
Yeah. No, I know. But at this point, I never expect a flag to come. And you know what? The Packers had a number of penalties, and the Bears in the first half really couldn't take advantage. They did a better job of it in the second half, but um, you didn't take advantage of those early on when you had them, and that stuff does matter. I mean, there were several plays that were games of inches. I know we're going to break down the final interception, but you know what got me was right before the interception, because it was 4th and 1. It looked like you could have run for a first down. You could have fought through, but I think somebody missed a block. And was it Monangai with the ball? He was just stopped just short.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like that play right there, when they get that first down, I think they at least get into the end zone. Now keep in mind, and this is how I'm going to kind of cope with this. The way Ben Johnson was playing, keeping all those timeouts, really winding that clock down, which I think you can look at two different ways. You can not like it, you can like it, you can understand it, you can not understand it. I was a little iffy about it, but I also realized that if they were to tie the game or take a 1 point lead on a 2 point conversion, the way the defense was playing, you didn't really want to give Green Bay the ball back in that situation. So I do kind of get it to that extent. But it was the little things in that sequence there that led up to it where you look back and you're like, okay, yeah, that needs to change. That needs to be better. That needs to be executed different. Maybe we could have done this. Maybe we could have done that. It does have you second guessing on a number of things. But like I said before, the way I kind of cope with this is either you get the touchdown, you kick the extra point, and you go to overtime. Who the hell knows what happens there? Or you could have gone for the extra point and missed it. That would have arguably been even more painful if that were the case. So what I'm trying to say is, as much as this sucked, at least it wasn't a 4 point game that happened where a touchdown would have won it, or at least would have given you a score where they have to drive downfield. So that's the only way I'm going to cope with this, but it still stings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it stings. And what sucks is the NFC is really good.
Hmm.
You, if you won that game, you're in first place in all of the NFC. You lost that game, you are the last playoff team.
Yep. Yep. Now, luckily, this game didn't it didn't cost you your season. Despite that, you still had time left to play. You were 9-3 or 9-4, and you got to take care of business next week, and then you have the rematch. But, what this could have looked like was obviously you would have maintained first in the North by several games, and then you would have stayed with the Rams because the Rams won today.
Yeah, you had the tiebreaker over the Rams again, though.
Right, right. So, I mean, look, it hurts. I'm not happy, but at least it wasn't the final game of the season where it was make or break getting in, getting out. So I'm
But
just trying to cope right now, man. It's tough.
yeah, I really thought 10 wins would get them in. 10 wins is not going to get them in the postseason.
Boy, because guess what? The Lions are very much alive after what they did to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was rooting hard for the Cowboys to win that game. Um, because
They
yeah,
looked like the Lions again with that offense.
yeah, that's um the good thing is next week they get the Rams.
That'll be interesting. Obviously, that's two top tier offenses going against each other. So that'll be an interesting game.
And then they get the Steelers, who are fighting for their playoff life. They're facing a revitalized Vikings team that
Well,
kicked a lot of ass today.
well, yeah, boy, Washington. Why did they even bring him back?
I don't know.
That was just crazy.
So, I mean, the Lions got an uphill battle. They're game behind the Bears. Um, and they've got a real road grader schedule too. But the Bears just gotta they've got to just take care of business. You get the Browns next week. The Browns the Browns offense is abysmal. Um, so you've got it. I mean, that's an absolute must-win game if you want to make the postseason. Like you have to win that game.
Yes. Yes.
If you win that game, gets you to 10 wins. And then I think you've got to win one of your last three: Packers, 49ers, Lions.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, next week is going to be the last game where you're like, okay, you have a favorable matchup, even though that defense is very, very good. You're just going to have to hang with them, I guess. I think that you're going to have to do everything you can to get off to a better start offense because you can't keep digging holes like this.
You can't.
They were down what, 14-3 going into the half?
Yeah, and you gave up that touchdown late in the game. And I,
Right,
I
that
knew
was
they were going
bad.
to. I knew they were going to.
Yeah. As soon as that ball went in the air, you're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, as soon as they got the ball, I'm like, there's no way they're not scoring a touchdown. I'm like, I'm just hoping that, you know, they run a bad play and forces them to kick a field goal, but there's no way they're 100% scoring and almost assuredly scoring a touchdown.
Right.
Um, so it was just a frustrating game, and Ben Johnson finally figured out what was going to work. And I was taking notes during the game, and I was like, when are they going to do that drive where Ben thinks he figures it out and just runs uh the whole drive? I'm like, he started to do it at one point, and then he and then went to passing, and then they didn't get the um they didn't get the any points. And then I'm like, okay, eventually he's going to do it. And at some point the drive went to just run, 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 uh, and then you're like, okay, now we're back in this. If the Bears can control that line of scrimmage, um, then this is back into it, and that's what happened. You got the figured out how to run, and and then the game got close again.
And then you know what? To Caleb's credit, he made a lot of big plays in that second half. He made some big throws. The touchdown throw to Zacchaeus was unworldly. And
I thought that was intercepted.
I thought it was too. And it was like, holy shit, like that was the tightest window he could possibly throw. And I thought too that when he was able to get away at times in the second half, you at least, even if it wasn't completed, it wasn't as frantic because I think he was frantically scrambling all over the place in the first half. It didn't know what the hell was going on. At least, I thought at least you saw some better reads in the second half as well. And some of those throws to Luther Burden, those plays to Luther Burden, those were working better. And the other thing too is the screen passes and the trick plays in the first half, they did not work. They were snuffing those out like ease. Like it was so easy. You were losing yards on those plays and then you started to see it work better. You had that shovel to Luther Burden. You had that what was it? It was that screen. I think that was also to Luther Burden. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that was the one that Micah Parsons almost knocked down.
Right, right. So, I mean, you saw the difference in the first half and the second half with those things. So at least unlike years past, at least you know you have a coach that can adjust to these sort of things. And like I said before, I think years past you get absolutely blown out. This time it was a bit different of a scenario.
Yeah, it's the second half. You started figuring things out, and I I think Dennis Allen's going to play this much differently in 2 weeks. Is you've got to not give up those big plays. You you've got to play smart defense. You can't lose them in coverage. And the Packers have been doing that to the Bears for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
Just like how do they keep having these blown coverages? Like how does that happen?
If I had a dollar for every slant they killed us with in my lifetime, I would be the richest man in the world.
It's just really frustrating. And Dennis Allen's gotta figure this out. He's got 2 weeks, has to figure this out. Ben Johnson, I think he knows. I think it's going to be a different match because you look and it's like a boxing match. When the first couple of rounds you're feeling each other out, and then by the end of the fight you're throwing big heavy blows. And I think Ben Johnson knows he can get some heavy blows. Um, so I think the Bears are going to win in 2 weeks. I think they're going to beat the Packers.
I think a lot of people are optimistic about it. It's certainly on the table. I mean, the nice thing that I can also say about what I'm looking at with this team is their ability to at least understand when something isn't working. It might not be right away, but in the second half, the fact that they were able to make those adjustments, I think that you can look at that in a way saying, okay, you're going to make adjustments going into the next matchup. Like, you know what worked, you know what didn't. And again, it feels like it's a coping mechanism, and to an extent it is, but I like the fact that I feel confident that they can at least attempt that. And you know, if they're going to make some counter adjustments too. Here's the thing, the Packers might win the Super Bowl this year. Like, they legit might win the Super Bowl. That defense is really good. They have a really good team that's really well coached. And the Bears were not supposed to be in this position. So I think you can at least look at the situation and say, it's a tough gig going into Lambeau Field in winter. They play their best football late in the season over there. And I think that when you go into a game like this, you win or you lose, obviously. I'm not going to argue that, but you can at least identify the areas where you can grow upon. And at least the second half gave us that instead of just getting your doors absolutely blown off like it looked like it was going to end up being. Take what you can, man. That's where I'm trying to go with this.
It just hurts.
It does.
Uh,
It does hurt.
it never gets easier, and no matter what, and I'll tell you this: the way the Bears, all right, I can say this. People can say, "Oh, the Bears were fluky, fluky, fluky," and I would agree with them. Fluky, fluky. After they just absolutely bodied the Eagles in Philadelphia, people went, maybe they are for real. And then they go to Lambeau, and they didn't win, but at the end, you started to see, oh, uh-oh, they can do some things against this defense that they couldn't do at all in the first half.
Right.
And it
Because the
wasn't,
the run game wasn't there either in the first half.
no. Uh but they hung with Green Bay in Lambeau. I think I think this team is for real. Are they a Super Bowl contender?
No. That pass rush is not winning you a Super Bowl. How many times did they send the house and they couldn't touch Jordan Love? And that's what led to those big plays.
Yeah. All right, here's what I'm going to say. In the Would this team in previous years been a Super Bowl contender? I'd say absolutely not. But look at the teams that are good this year. Like most of them are flawed. Like the Broncos and Patriots are 1 and 2 in the AFC. The Jaguars are number 3. You already beat the 4 seed in the Steelers. The Colts are plummeting. Like
Yeah, that's not looking good.
they might not win another game this season.
I mean, after Daniel Jones went out, who the hell is? I mean, they're going to have that Notre Dame guy play, right? I mean, what other choice do they have?
But you look and you're like, okay, I the Broncos and the Patriots are having a good season, but I don't fear them. Uh, you look more, closer to home in the NFC. You're you have to feel like you can beat the Packers. You already beat the Eagles. The Buccaneers just lost to the Saints, who you beat. Uh, we'll see what you look like against the 49ers. Like you I think you can beat these teams. Like is it is it likely? No. But you're a flawed team that is playing really good football. And once the playoffs hit, you know, it's not like you have to win a series. You win one game. One game, you go to the next round. Now again, do I think this is going to happen? No. But again, anything is possible once you make the playoffs. And the Bears now have a 2/3 chance, 66% chance of making the postseason.
Well, you're in the conversation right now.
Yeah, and
You're in the conversation.
um, and we'll see what things look like. Rams versus Lions.
Yep.
Like if the Rams win, your chances go up because then the teams chasing you are, uh, making the assumption you beat the Browns. And if the Lions lose, you got a 2 game advantage on them with 3 games left. The Panthers, you already have a 2 games on the Panthers. You have 2.5 games on the Cowboys and you beat them. So I guess that'll count as 3. And the Vikings are essentially out. So um it's you're inching your way into making the playoffs. And from there, if you can if you can get turnovers and run the ball, anything can happen.
Yep.
But it comes down to, you know what? You've got you've got a week and you'd better come out and just absolutely bitch slap the Browns. you cannot play around. You've got to go in there and just dominate them.
Well, Shadur's playing a little better, so just be wary.
I
But
mean,
you're 100% right. You got to beat him.
I
You
mean, they're
got to beat him.
not playing well enough. They lost to the worst team in the NFL today.
That's
Sorry,
true.
the second worst team now.
Aha. So that's is the Giants now? Are they now the
I think the
worst?
Jets. I think the Jets are the.
I thought the Jets have 3 wins.
I'm talking about like just looking at the play.
Oh,
The,
okay.
the Jets are brutal. Yeah, what did Shador look like today? He had 364 yards passing, but um, yeah, against the Titans. Titans are bad.
Yes, yes, they are.
I mean, they couldn't run the ball at all. The Browns. Oh, Tony Pollard had 6.5 yards a carry. If that's how you're going to beat the Browns, man, Ben Johnson might run 90% of the time.
Well, I mean, it's going to be really cold next weekend, so
Uh, but let's look at this game a little more. Um, the receivers got to catch balls that hit him in the hands. They just have to. No ifs, ands, or buts. Um,
Butterfingers?
and Caleb's going to have to take a little something off some of those balls too.
Yeah.
It's cold and he is just throwing heat. He's Nolan Ryan out there.
He's got better velocity than most Cub pitchers.
That's not saying a lot.
No, it's not.
I've seen wiffle ball games with better velocity than some of those Cubs starters. Um, what is what is the weather next Sunday gonna be? Oh, 3 degrees, low of
Yeah.
3, high of
Yeah.
24.
Yeah. Yeah.
By noon, it's supposed to be around 20, so it won't be terrible. Um, but ooh, it's gonna be cold. Oof. Um,
I don't envy anybody who's going to that game. I will gladly watch it in television in my warm home.
I got asked about going to the game, and I 100% would have gone, but my kid's got a dance thing, so I cannot. But I would have. I would have bundled up. It's one of those things. Is like I'm getting old. Never going to one of those cold games again. But then the opportunity for to go to the game shows up, and you're like, well, uh, I got snow pants. I've got gloves. Uh, yeah, it is brutal. I cannot wait for a dome.
I know. Me too. Me too. Can we talk about the interception? Because I want to get to that.
E- which interception? Caleb's or Jordan?
Caleb's.
Sure. Let's go for it.
So, it was 4th and 1. You ran the clock down. You had 3 timeouts. He boots to the left. Cole Kmet beat his guy, and it was underthrown. The one,
It was underthrown, but Cole Kmet beat his guy, but beat him and then went too deep in the end zone. Like, so if he throws that, it's either going to have to be a great catch or it's going to have to be underthrown. And I,
right, and that's what happened. It was underthrown, and what happened. Um, I think Caleb needs to hit him earlier before he gets there.
I think Caleb should have run it, picked up the first down.
I don't think he would have gotten it. I don't think he would have gotten it.
I think he would have gotten, and he probably would have got walloped.
Uh, I mean, are you saying like if it was a designed run or
No,
after
I'm
he
saying
booted out
after
to
he
his
booted
left?
out, I think if he runs, he
He was
gets it.
pretty well covered. I don't know. I don't know. I want to see the all 22, but I'm not sure he gets there. There were two guys in his vicinity.
It's one of those things, and I keep harping on it. When those plays break down, somebody's got to come back and help. Somebody's got to come back and make it an easier throw. And it just it has to happen. That's if multiple guys are breaking off to try to go to Caleb, somebody has to be open. Where are these open guys? Why aren't they coming back to help him out? Come back to the ball. Like, sure, Cole Kmet should be, somebody should be going deep, but somebody's got to come back and get a ball. You've got to have options. And it sucked, that it happened. And not picking it up on third down really sucked. I think the play calling, those last couple plays, weren't very good. And I think Ben Johnson wishes he could go back and like 3 minutes in time and
Oh, absolutely.
and try that again.
No, I agree. Absolutely.
Um, you've they're gonna gear up and they're getting pressure. You've got to get a quick pass. Get a quick pass. If you don't think you're going to be able to run it, get a quick pass. Fake the run. Sell out with the run. They're going to sell out with the run. Fake the run, and then just a little pass. Rerun the play that you scored the one touchdown on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, uh, or hell, actually put Theo Benedetta in as a fullback, not as a, there's the one they put him in as the fullback or the, and he did a fake, fake out where they faked the run and they got the pass. Like, put him in as a real fullback. Let him run behind him. You need 1 yard.
Yeah. That's the thing. It wasn't 4th and 4. It wasn't 4th and 5. It was 4th and 1. But
Yeah,
again, it sucked you were even in that position because the play before, I thought initially the way the momentum is going, they were going to get a first down there. And then no, he was stopped dead right before the first down marker. And that right there, I'm like, uh-oh. That was,
yeah. When he didn't pick it up, I was like, I think this is done.
yeah, yep, yep. No, I'm with you there. The other thing about that play that people I think were starting to talk about and are now coming back to it, they're like, oh, well, DJ Moore was wide open. He would have walked in. Here's the thing. Caleb Williams was booting to his left. The way his body was torqued and the way he had his vision downfield, I don't think that's as easy as, oh, he just didn't throw it to a wide open DJ Moore because of the angle even if he would have saw him, he would have had to torque his body all the way around and then throw it to him. I don't think that was as big of a miss as some people think.
If you have a slower defender, well, I guess if there was a slower defender, he's running for that first down. But he will swing his hips and reestablish and throw, and he can do that. When he's throwing on the run, there's only so much of an angle he can throw at, and
Right.
it was underthrown, and I I just wish that when it was underthrown, it would have been closer to Komet where he could have fought and tried to get a 50-50 ball. Because
Right.
it's a much smaller defender. He bodies his way in, comes down with it. Had it been just a little more oomph on it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a game of inches and football's funny because was, you look at a spread, point spread, and if it's the point spread is 7 points, you're like, man, that's going to be an ass kicking. That's what the Vegas odd makers are thinking. But then you watch this game and one more play and it goes from 7 point loss to a tie game.
Right.
One play. There was times when the Packers looked like they were going to kick the ever-loving shit out of the Bears. And then you watch that second half, and the Bears dominated most of that second half.
Hmm.
It's just, it just sucks. It really sucks, and I hate it so much. I hate losing to the Packers.
I know, me too. I mean, because like one thing that makes this hurt so much is because Hufu was against. It would have hurt no matter what the game situation would have been. But if this was against like, I don't know, the Seahawks or something, not factoring in mathematics, it would still hurt, but it wouldn't hurt the same way. And I'm going to say this too. I'm not criticizing anybody for hyping up this game, being ready, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, we mentioned the whole Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur comments. And there was part of me when I heard that thinking, oh, that is just asking for it. And now we're going to be clowned at least for the next 2 weeks on that endlessly.
Yeah, and unless the Bears win in 2 weeks against the Packers, this is just going to hang on their heads. Everybody that said the Bears were frauds are going to act like this was an ass kicking in a, some divine thing. Like, oh, that's right. That's see, the Bears lost a game. They must suck. I was right. All the Packers fans are, going to be gloating. Um,
Which is nothing new.
Nothing
We're
new.
always on the other, we're always on the wrong side of this.
It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It sucks. I'm just glad that there are some things I can look at and say, you know what, there's some differences with this team here, even if the result is the same. Man, at the end of the day, what I just really want to see eventually develop is a more consistent quarterback. And I think part of the inconsistency is it's a very complicated offense, and some guys are just not on the same page. That's part of the territory. But we just see these really skittish starts, and eventually that was going to come back to bite you. Like we knew they weren't going to be able to pull off these crazy wins over and over and over again and sustain it. The last two games, obviously, you won big last week. The week before, it was a back and forth battle because you had literally no defense, but you had the lead and you hung on. But you look at some of the other games where you were winning, in crazy fashion, which is great, but you can't rely on either digging that hole early and trying to work your way out or losing it late and then coming back in crazy fashion again. And that's going to be something we need to see get better. And maybe we don't see Caleb truly find more consistency until next year. I mean, that's kind of where I'm starting to think is even though we're seeing some good things happen, there's still so much to work on. And while we've seen some progress in some areas, other areas just need a lot more work. And that's kind of the reality of it. At least he had that second half today where he looked much better with a cleaner pocket. He was zipping some throws in there. He was making some better reads. And I think the play calling was better. The execution was better. Obviously, it helped that the run game was running better. But man, I mean, that first half was as brutal to watch as you can get. And against a good team like that, it's hard to expect yourselves to have a chance to win when you start a first half like that on the road.
Yep. And you're down 14-3 on the road at halftime after giving up a big play that you shouldn't have given up. I mean, they floated one. That should have been a pick.
Yeah.
There was, people, oh, he just threw a mirror. No, it was a guy who was open. That was an absolute lame duck.
Quack.
Um, there was two touchdowns on lame ducks. Period. That's fact. Um, and the Bears can't give those up. They can't give those up. Just they cannot. Not against this team. Not on the road.
No. No.
Now we just got to root next week. The Broncos are playing the Packers. I guess we get to see if the Broncos are for real.
Is that in Denver or is that in Green Bay?
That is in Denver.
Okay. Just curious.
So in theory, the Bears could be back in first place when when the Packers come to town.
It's possible.
I mean, if the Bears beat the Browns and the Broncos beat the Packers, the Bears are back in first place.
It could happen. What was that from Angels in the Outfield? That kid says it. Hey, it could happen. Is that what that
Uh,
meme is from? I think so. Anyway, the thing that sucks about this more than anything is now you have a week to linger over it. It's not like you blow a save in baseball. It's like, well, you come back the next day. And this, you think about it for a week. At least it wasn't one of those games where you had the lead late at Lambeau and you blew it. At least it wasn't that. You never led in this game. You probably
nope.
didn't deserve to win this game. But you had a shot to at least tie it, maybe take the lead on 2-point conversion. Like I said earlier, at least you weren't down four, and that would have been a go-ahead touchdown. You don't know what would have happened after that. Do you miss an extra point? Do you lose in overtime? Do you not get the 2-point conversion? Who knows? Who knows? So that's how I try to cope. Because it stinks.
Yep. Um, you know, and there's so much room for improvement. The offensive line did not look good in the first half. And in fact, in the second half, they didn't look fantastic either. They looked better. Um, way too much pressure from Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. Um, and then even those rookie defensive tackles that were in played really well against your great front three, your middle three. Um, the wide receivers got to be better. Caleb got to be better. Thought the running backs played fine. Thought the defensive line played okay. They just got to get home on that pass rush.
Well, you got to get home, and that last drive was not good.
No,
And that's what killed you.
and honestly, it wasn't even that terrible if you made the tackles. If you made the tackles, they get away with a field goal, and it's
Right. That's the
and
thing. It was the execution.
then they're up by three, and instead of going for it on fourth down where you throw the interception, you kick a field goal and you tie that game,
Yep.
and then you go to overtime, and then it's a brand new ball game. But uh, you know, it's but ifs and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day.
I was not expecting that on our show, but hey, I like it.
Um, but man, just the defensive backs have to be better. So many just blown coverages, so much, you know, missed tackles, missed coverages, confusion. And it was your veterans too. It was, CJ Gardner Johnson, Jalen Johnson, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker. My hope,
Was
my
Jalen
hope,
Johnson aching today?
he didn't look right.
Right.
I I just hope that after this game that they don't start, you know, uh, pointing fingers and losing focus. Ben Johnson's got to keep everybody looking forward to the next game.
Correct.
This sucked. This was a loss. We should have won. Didn't do enough. Uh, now we have a game against at home where we've got to win. Plain and simple against a team that's what 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just the facts. You are looking at Yeah, the Browns are 3-10. They're coming. They're coming to you. You've got to win that game. Just absolute must.
Yep.
And then
No
you've
ifs,
got,
ands, or buts.
and if you take care of business, then you cross your fingers that the Broncos are able to take care of business against the Packers, and then destiny's back in your own hands.
Hmm.
It's back, um, because if that happens, that means then the Bears are 10-4, and the Packers are 9-4-1. So you're a half game up on them, and you're back in first place in the division. And then there's what, 3 games left after that, and
Yep.
you
So
just got to
it's
hold your
what?
own.
Yep. Because it's that because after the second Packer game, what? It's San Francisco, right?
San Francisco, then Detroit.
Yep.
Yep. So you got. I mean, it starts with taking care of business. Got to beat the Browns. Absolutely must. And I know Shador looked better today, but you've got to
Yeah,
get.
no, don't get me wrong. You still got to win that. You
You,
do. You have to.
mm, oh man, Tankathon Giants and the number one overall pick.
That's what I thought after today, after the Titans won.
Yeah. So
I mean,
the
that
current.
that is a team that literally looks like it's losing on purpose at this point.
Oh, they 100% are. But I don't know what they're going for. I mean, I wonder if they'll make a big trade, but there's not a quarterback. Like I don't know who you're going for.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think then maybe you just address what you need the most. I don't know. And you shop around, you see what deals you could get. And
It's just a weird year in a weird team for you to tank, and they're clearly tanking. Um, but like it's usually tank, you're like, oh, I need a quarterback, and that's the way to get a quarterback. But like I think Dart is really good if he would stop taking those big hits. Like
yeah,
I think Dart is really good.
he
You
looks
can
pretty darn good against us a few weeks ago.
you can win with him. You can play with him. Like, all right, so you're like, we need everything else pretty much. So, if there was a quarterback there, um, then you could trade and get some sort of like uh, you know, Bears Panthers haul, but there's no Caleb Williams in this draft. I mean, maybe Mendoza, the quarterback of Indiana, comes out and people go goo goo gaga over him after they beat Ohio State.
You sounded like Tony Soprano. I'll have the gobbledygook.
The gabagool. Yeah, the current draft order is Giants, Vegas, Tennessee, Cleveland, uh, Saints, and Commanders are the top 6. So the Jets might be the worst team in football, and they have the 7 pick.
Well, do you see what the Dolphins did to them today? It was ooh, rough.
Yeah, you get beat up by the Dolphins. That's bad.
Rough, rough, rough.
Now I just gotta hope that the Chiefs lose tonight. Then that almost kicks them out of the playoffs.
Does remind me, I gotta check my pick'ems because I put 1 point on Green Bay, hoping that, okay, if I'm wrong and the Bears win, I only lose a point, but I was right, unfortunately, so I get a point there. I gotta look at my pick'ems. Though I think I picked Cleveland. Ugh. I haven't even looked at my three fantasies yet. Let's see. Let's live react to looking at my three fantasy teams. Okay, here's the first one. Pulling it up, pulling it up, pulling it up. Come on, load, 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 load. 96% going to win.
That's
pretty
correct.
high, but not 100. Let's look at my other two. Drum roll, please. Okay, one team, 98% chance. The other team, 1% chance. So, assuming everything is looking here, 2-1 in my three fantasy teams. I know one of my leagues, we have a small league, so we all make the playoffs because playoffs are coming. But yeah, not too awful, not too awful.
The Brown center is out for the season. Carted off Achilles injury.
Oof. I have no tight ends in one of my
Ooh,
that are active,
Zach
but
Ertz torn ACL.
oh, I didn't see that. That's rough. I still don't understand. I still don't understand why the Commanders played Jane Daniels.
No idea. No idea. Like you're out of it. What was the point?
I don't know.
Uh, I again, I'm going to reiterate. Jaden Daniels coming out of college, fantastic player, really high upside, talent wise, didn't doubt anything. It's just look at the frame he has and the way he plays, and you're like, that guy's going to get injured. It's a different injury than I expected, but it's just and they were like, oh, it's not that serious. He's going to play in a couple weeks. Well, he aggravated it again. This could very well be, you know, like something that plagues him.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even going to say anything, but Jaden Daniels, just the frame is not there. He's just not built to take the impact. And football is a really violent contact sport.
Right. And I think you weren't the only one to think that. I think a lot of people had that fear. As talented as he is, I think a lot of people were afraid of that. You weren't the only one to call that out.
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean, you remember a
that was
lot of
my
people were
concern.
saying that.
Yeah, that was my big concern with him is, I took no he took it as a slight that he wasn't number one and wasn't looked at by the Bears. Like that was my fear is, you know, and he had a fantastic rookie season. Might be the greatest rookie season of a quarterback ever. But a rookie season does not a career make. Uh, so he's got a long way to go. I mean, if your first season that you played, made you a Hall of Famer, RG3 would be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because his rookie season was very, very good. They took,
Yep.
like Jane Daniels, took a team that was sub 500 the year before to the playoffs.
Yep. It's man that this offseason made a whole 180-degree flip between the Bears and the Commanders.
Yeah, I'll say.
Uh, so yeah, just Bears sucked this week. Made it close at the end, couldn't pull it out. Would have been a miracle. I think Green Bay would have lost their minds had that been a touchdown in the last throw. Um, I probably would have had a heart attack knowing Ben Johnson was going to go. I'm sure he would have gone for two.
Oh, I know, I know. Could you, like I said before, could you imagine if we would have gotten that touchdown and lost because we couldn't convert on the 2 points?
It's just, I mean, if you're the Bears and you have this bad juju with the Packers, and I would probably go for two as well because nothing good's going to happen in overtime. The way they
Right.
march down the field, and it's just there's too much up for grabs. I would have gone for it. One play from the couple yard line, and you go for it. And I'm sure Ben Johnson has a play designed for that moment.
Hmm. Oh, I'm sure he does. Yes.
You go for it, and winner takes all on that one play. But you didn't get there. You live, you learn, and we regroup for the Browns.
That's all I can do.
It's all you can do.
But what the hell is going on with Kyler Gordon?
I don't know. He needs a groinectomy.
Ugh, that doesn't sound pleasant. That does not sound pleasant.
I all I have to say though is they need to figure out. Look at what they Micah Parsons did, and it's like he's a really talented dude, but he's a he's a different player than um Miles Garrett.
Well, Miles Garrett is head and shoulders above like everybody. He could go down as one of the greatest ever the way he's going.
You got to be ready for that dude. It's going to be a different animal because he's a beast, absolute beast.
And as bad as the Browns are, it's still going to be a challenge you have to face next week.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe someone could just put ants in his pants.
He only had one sack this week, but he had
What a bum.
but he had three tackles for losses.
See, even when he's not getting sacks, he's still really freaking good.
Yeah. So the guy is ridiculous.
Sean, I need you to put ants in his pants.
Red or black?
Oh, let's just do black. Red's too mean. I don't want him to get hurt. I just want him to be too distracted by all the ants moving in his pants.
I'm just imagining him like ripping his pants off and running around in the field, just trying to shake off ants.
It's like something from the Three Stooges.
He's he falls on the ground and starts doing the curly shuffle. There's ants in my pants.
There's a Three Stooges episode where they're working as exterminators and nobody has answer problems or anything, so they sneak into a house and they let a bunch of ants and mice go, and then they call, so they have to take care of it. So I just picture like somebody just with a big old jar labeled ants, just opening it and sprinkling it in his pants.
Uh, all right. Should we talk about what else is going on in Chicago sports?
Tough weekend, huh? Boy, you want to talk about a 180 from the first few weeks about the Bulls. They look like one of the worst teams.
They're terrible.
They're awful. They're laughably awful, and we see who they're facing. Like bad teams, and they're clowning you.
Yeah, you are not a good basketball team. And it started off so promising. I don't know how. I mean, you're watching it and you're like, huh, they're playing like a competent team. And now they're just like, nope, nope. Uh, and the crazy thing is they're still way too good to get a top draft pick right now.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like there's some really bad teams in the NBA.
So you know what's crazy? I just saw this come up across my screen. So the Bulls trailed by as many as 24 points in the third quarter. But then they went on a 17-1 run to make it a game again. Now they trail 108-81.
They're being outscored in the fourth quarter 21-5. 21-5.
Only the Bulls.
Like, do you know how bad that is?
Yeah, that's brutal. Is it a hot take for me to say that I think Billy Donovan might have lost that team?
He should be fired. Like, and the thing is Golden State, they're a 500 team. Like, they're not like dominant. Like, all right, I get if you're getting spanked like that by Oklahoma City, who's 22-1. but you're not. You're getting spanked by teams with 500 records and sub 500 records.
Did they lose to what? Then they've lost to the Nets. They've lost to the Hornets or the Pelicans. I think it was the Pelicans. They've lost to some really bad teams.
I mean, you got spanked by Milwaukee. Milwaukee is 10 and 15 right now. And
It's
and they're about
ugly,
and they're
man.
going to trade Giannis.
To the Bulls? No, wait, they're not
Not to the
interested.
Bulls, not to the Bulls. But yeah, it's that's a bad team. And all of the flaws that they had are just raising their head, ugly head. And I think people saw like what they can do. They can score points. They can't play defense, and they're soft as baby shit.
Yeah. And I think Vooch wants to leave so badly.
Oh yeah. And you know what? At this point, why wouldn't you?
Seriously.
Why wouldn't you? Um, it's Pat Williams is a bad basketball player. Bad basketball. Like not
And they gave him an extension for some reason.
he is bad. Um, I think you play better without Kobe White.
Is
I
that a coincidence or
I I, I don't know. I
did they
mean,
just happen to be playing over their heads when Kobe White was still hurt?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that.
But at this point, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And then what? Their first round pick is now out for the season?
Yep, shoulder injury.
Ugh. How many
Um,
minutes did he play total this year? Like two?
Not very many.
You want to talk about you want to talk about frauds. The Bulls were the biggest mirage that we've ever seen.
Uh, I mean,
I don't have much else to say.
like
It's
the Bulls
bad.
are just absolutely unraveling. Um, like, does Billy Donovan survive the whole season?
This is the Bulls we're talking about. Didn't they give him an extension recently?
I think they did. I think it was in the off season.
So yeah, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere with the Bulls either.
Well, yeah, but again, who owns the team?
Uh, you lose to the Pacers, you lose to the Nets, you lose to the Hornets. Um, it's just the Bulls started off 5-0 on the season. Since then, they're 4-12.
Ugh. Oi, 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 oi. That's just that's hilariously bad.
Uh,
Because what that last big I know they beat the Nuggets at one time, but it seemed like the highest we were on this early season was that comeback win against Philadelphia.
bef- I know plus minus again is not like a great stat, but in Pat Williams' last 7 games, do you know what his plus minus is?
What is it?
Minus 59. And that's against dog shit teams.
I mean, I know plus minus to your point isn't always the greatest, but that's pretty telling in my opinion. That's
Pat
bad.
Williams is awful. Like, you're going to have to live with that contract.
I didn't like it the second they signed it.
I think they were scared because every other guy that they've let walk has gone somewhere else and played well. And They were like, "Oh, we can't have it happen again." And nope, Pat Williams is just a bad basketball player. So not only did you compound a number 4 overall pick, he was the 4th overall pick. You you compounded it by paying the man.
Just brutal, man. Just awful. And then you realize slowly and slowly as things start to unravel, oh hey, look at the other teams that have stars on their team, and look what happens late in game and tight games. Oh yeah, the stars take over. We don't have it.
No, we have the world's biggest bust on a 5-year, $90 million contract.
Gross.
Yep. This is year 2 of the 5-year deal.
Can we just like maybe, I don't know, cast the magic wand and all of a sudden, like, oh, hey, look, the deal is 5 years. It's over. Go home.
Pull out an Uno reverse card.
I wish, man. No take backsies though in this
Need a
world.
need a mulligan on this one. Uh, and then the Blackhawks are coming back down to earth too.
Well, they had a nice little stretch, but this weekend's been rough. They had a nice win in LA. They had another nice win against the Ducks last week. They lost a hard one in overtime. They felt like they should have had to the Knights. But you know what we can say is Connor Bedard is stupid good at hockey.
He's really good, and but you also realize you're a different team without your captain.
Yes, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
They're not the same team without Nick Foligno. And the thing is Nick Foligno is not that good of a hockey player. It's There's that veteran presence is very helpful.
Well, he's a veteran presence, and I mean he's had a very good career. He's just older. He can't do what he used to, but he still has that IQ and those instincts and that knowledge. That all goes a long way when you're on the. He's a captain for a reason.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's a fact, and they have not played the same since he's been hurt. Um, you got spanked in your last game. I mean,
Yeah, that was a bad one.
against the Kings. Um, but the thing is with that one, it's growth isn't always linear.
Nope.
You take some steps forward, you take some steps back. Um, but uh, you know, I still like the trajectory of this Blackhawks team. And how many more weeks is Nick Foligno out for?
Well, it was four they said initially, and that injury happened several weeks ago. It was the game I was at. It was against the Maple Leafs. I saw him leaving the ice right away, holding his wrist. So, oh, that was at least 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Um, da, 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 da. Likely back mid-December.
So soon. It's
Yeah.
December 7th. And if that timeline is correct, then yeah, that sounds about right.
So hopefully that's the case. Because I think that would be a big for um Blackhawks if he comes back. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks and they expected 4.
Assuming everything goes well.
Yeah.
So,
Um, but I mean, I do still like the trajectory that they're on.
oh yeah.
I think this is going to be a really good team. Um, I am really curious to see what Kyle from Chicago does with all that money and in this off season because they're not going to make the postseason. They're not going to make any kind of noise like that, but they're um they're They're not a bottom feeder.
No, no, they're not. I mean, even if they finish low in the standings, you see the progress they've made since last year. It's noticeable. You
It's
still have a ways to go, but you see the progress.
yeah, I mean, it is uh it is significantly different from last year. Like uh like if the season ended right now, they're not a lottery pick. After being like one of the worst teams every year for the last several years, they're not a lottery pick.
Do you hear that? It's me knocking on wood.
I'm
Sean Hotman, it's the kiss of death.
saying right now, that's a fact. Right now, if the season were to end right now, they would not be a lottery team. I take that back. That pick from the Panthers would be a lottery pick. But their
But
pick,
that's not based on standings.
yeah,
Though the Panthers are still, but yeah. Anyway, kiss of death from
uh,
Mr. Sean Hotman. Wow, 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 wow. You
uh,
probably said they were going to get a touchdown and 2 point conversion at the end, didn't you?
I
Didn't you?
did. I just held my breath. I held my breath.
See, even you thinking is the kiss of death.
I take the blame for the Bears loss because my kid had her orchestra recital and then she had rehearsal. So I watched the Bears game from my car while she was in rehearsal, and I got back just as they were starting the second half. So I couldn't do all of my routines because I was in the car. Um, as soon as I got back home, they played better. It's my fault.
Wow, 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 wow.
Bears fans, you can blame me.
Sean Hotman. It's the kiss of death from Mr. Sean Hotman. Wow, 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 wow. Don't you dare think about them winning next week.
I'm not.
Good.
You know, I did it again though when I said I'm sure the Cubs were going to sign Dylan Cease. And
Motherfucker, you're right. Wow, 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 wow.
do you know what a curse it is to not be able to enjoy anything?
Yeah, that must suck.
Like, oh, if you enjoy something, it's going to turn bad. Oh, crap. It's my curse. But I mean, speaking of the Cubs, they've been linked a lot of places, and I have no idea what's real. We were told by Bob Nightingale they were on the verge of signing Zach Gallen, and then who was it that was just like, nah, you're a liar.
It
That's
was
not true.
passing. I think it was
Yeah.
passing that it followed up. He's like, yeah, there's no deal. Nothing's close. And then Bob tried to go back and then like completely edited his tweet like to make it sound like, oh, well, they're interested, but they're not close. It's like, dude, you're just stop.
Jeff Passan, just put you in your place. Um,
Do you know the movie The Big Lebowski? Have we talked about The Big
I
Lebowski
I
before?
love the Big Lebowski.
Okay, so did you see the meme I posted yesterday,
No,
shortly
I
after
didn't.
that? So I took a picture of Walter, Donnie, and the dude in the parking lot when the nihilists torch his car, and Donnie's like, "Are these people gonna hurt us, Walter?" So I put in the quotes, I said, "It's just a Bob Nightingale report, Donnie. There's nothing to worry about."
Oh God. Uh, yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. Um,
You're hearing them linked to both Eugenio Suarez and Alex Bregman again. Now, they're also linked to that Japanese star, Imai. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't want to sound stupid.
I don't either, but they're linked to him. They're obviously linked to Zach Gallen. I've heard some interest in Michael King. Here's the way I see it is if they were to land one of those big arms, and Zach Gallen is not high on my list. I don't want the guy to be Zach Gallen. If they land like a King or an Amai, or I'd like to trade for Joe Ryan. I don't know if they're trading Joe Ryan, the Twins are, but if you land one of those big arms and you signed Eugenio Suarez, I think those are two real good moves right there because Eugenio Suarez is probably going to be cheaper than Alex Bregman. And I think Eugenio Suarez is going to give you more power. He might not give you average or maybe on base. He'll strike out a little more, but I think Bregman's going to want a lot of money for a power bat that I think is starting to diminish a little bit. We saw it in the
He,
second half last year.
true, but he's got that like veteran like swagger and intangibles he brings.
He's definitely a better fielder.
That's true.
But with Suarez, I like those 37 home runs, 37-40 home runs at Wrigley Field. And then
Uh,
maybe you make Shaw kind of your super utility man.
Slash uh pinch hitter.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. If you at okay, based on who's available on the market right now,
Hmm.
has to be a free agent, not trade for somebody that might not be even on the market. Free agents that haven't signed. Money's no object. There's no other factors, just who you would want that's a current free agent. Which which pitcher would you pick?
I want to say either Imai or King. Those are my top two choices. I think Imai is a higher ceiling. King has at least already shown you in the big leagues he can be a really good starter. That's where I'm at.
Um,
And I apologize if I butcher his name. I really need to go out and learn his name. But I've read about him. I've seen his stats. They're really, really freaking good. He throws hard. Um, yeah, he's really good. And he's 27, so he's right in his prime.
yeah, I'm not sure who I want. Um, I don't know.
I
Honestly,
I've heard
um,
about Ranger Suarez, but the thing is, he's good, but he doesn't get a lot of whiffs.
no, but man, just he's been so clutch for the Phillies.
He has. He has. You are not wrong.
Uh, I mean, what if? All right, so Dylan Cease is off the table.
Right.
Um, they bring Michael King. Uh, what about Frambler Valdez?
He's the best pitcher on the market. I just don't see that happening.
What if they bring in one of the top remaining starting pitchers? What if they bring in Pete Alonso?
I would love that. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but I would love that.
And then you work you give some off-season work to Michael Bush at third base. Just for the flexibility.
I would rather move Suzuki back to right and then alternate DHing time. That's what I'd rather Pete Alonso be more of a DH and have Suzuki in right field.
No, I agree with that. But then what about when inevitably Suzuki gets hurt and can't play in the outfield, and but you want his bat because he can come back, play play the hit, but maybe not run in the outfield.
Play the hit.
He can play the hit. He can play the hit the ball. Um, just for the flexibility. It get some playing time in for Michael Bush at third base. Because you want his bat in the lineup.
Yeah, but I really don't want him at third.
I just really, really want Pete Alonso's bat in the lineup.
So do I. Trust me, so do I.
He's got no qualifying offer. The Mets don't want him. I don't think. I don't know why. I want that giant bat playing at Wrigley Field. It's what I want.
I hear you. I do too. I do too. Trust me.
38 home runs, 126 RBIs, 871 OPS, and no qualifying offer. And he can't do anything but DH in first. That's all he can do.
Yep. So that's why he's got a DH mostly. Or, the way you play it is think of it this way. I know a lot of people don't like the platoon idea, and I want Bush in there more days than not, obviously. But if there were certain pitching matchups where Pete Alonso is your DH for most of the part, but there might be a tough lefty on the mound where you don't necessarily want Bush in the lineup, well, that's where you can go, okay, Pete Alonso, play first,
Would
right?
you would you bring back Kyle Schwarber?
Fuck yeah. I just don't see that happening.
I just don't like that he's 33. How did he get to be 33 years old?
I don't know.
How did that happen?
Well, there's this thing called time, but it seems to go by much quicker than it should be.
That's the part that scares me. I mean, but I would love to have that bat back in the
But
lineup.
he's getting better with age. He's aging like wine.
Because the thing is, it's like George Foreman. Like he won the heavyweight title in his 40s because the power doesn't go away. Kyle Schwarber's power is not going away. He's got power for days.
And boy, oh boy, do I not want to see him on the Reds because that would be a problem.
I just think it would be funny if the Yankees signed him.
He legit might hit 60.
Can you imagine trying to pitch to Stanton, Judge, and Schwarber?
Yeah,
And
that would be disgusting.
Schwarber with that left field porch that porch in Yankee Stadium that kept Anthony Rizzo in the league for several more years. Like, he would just be parking balls. Like you would just see them score so many runs. It wouldn't even care who pitched. I could pitch. That,
Yeah, it would be crazy.
like, I mean, I just think that would be funny. I think that'd be like a cheat code.
Well, especially if Stanton is healthy. Because if he's healthy and Aaron Judge is healthy, and let's say they also had Cody Bellinger back too, who took well advantage of that short porch. So that would be like combined what? Like 80 home runs between Bellinger and Schwarber right there, plus Aaron Judge, plus a hypothetically, quote, healthy Giancarlo Stanton. Two left, two right of just endless bombs. Hey, get this. Guess who made an offer to Kyle Schwarber per Ken Rosenthal?
The Blue Jays.
No, the Pirates.
Huh.
My guess, they said a 4-year deal. They didn't give exact numbers, but
4 years, $12 million.
yeah, total.
That's our offer. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
I think it'd be funny if the Cubs signed both Suarez's.
Well, you know what would be great if they got a Eugenio Suarez, which means every day if you were listening to the radio, you would hear Pat Hughes go, a Eugenio Suarez. The way he pronounced it is phonetically is just it's so pleasing to the ear.
And then they got Ranger Suarez and Robert Suarez.
Wasn't that in the 80s when they had Sandberg, Sundberg, and something else Berg?
I just remember Sundberg and Sandberg.
And Harry Carey would, oh, here's Ryan Sundberg, Sandberg.
Harry Carey.
Speaking of Harry Carey, I was doing another old Cubs game binge on YouTube, and I was watching game two of the '03 LCS when they won 12-3, and freaking Dusty Baker, despite being like an 11-0 game, still had Mark Pryor out there in the seventh inning, well over 100 pitches, but that's beside the point. On the '03 Cubs, you remember who their second baseman was, right?
Which year?
'03.
Oh, three. Who was the second baseman? Um, Hold on. I'm gonna pull this out of my hat. Um,
It's probably on the tip of your tongue, isn't it?
um,
Veteran, kind of a slappy hitter. Not Alex Gonzalez, that was the shortstop.
um, Alex Gonzalez, Mark Grudzielanek.
Mark Rudzelanek.
Okay, man, I did pull
So,
that one out of my ass.
so when I saw his name, all I could think of was the clip I've heard a million times of Harry Carey when he used to be on the Expos and the Cubs would play the Expos and him going through hell and high water just to try to pronounce his name. Mark Grudzlanda, oh hell with it.
Uh, Eric Karros was on that team, wasn't he?
He was. Yes. I don't know if you remember this, but he famously, that season, when he was with the Cubs, he always brought his old Canon camcorder and was recording everything throughout that playoff run. And he never released the tapes. I mean, he was recording like throughout that entire postseason run of the dugout, the clubhouse. He was setting up the camera for when they thought they were going to win game 6 in the clubhouse. And I just begged for years. I'm like, Mr. Karros, please release the tapes. Release the '03 tapes. Do you remember that by any chance?
Vaguely.
I want to see that footage so bad of him sitting in the dugout in 2003 in that old rat mold infested dugout at Wrigley Field next to that really nasty ass bathroom where you'd walk down that nasty ass tunnel into that gross, disgusting old clubhouse. I want to see that footage.
Do you know who was a utility infielder on that team that year?
Well, there was Randall Simon,
No, not the one I'm talking about.
uh, Doug Glanville.
Nope. I'll
Um,
give you a hint. I don't know you. That's That's my
Oh,
purse.
Bobby Hill. Bobby
Bobby
Hill.
Hill.
They traded him for Aram. That's right. I was just watching that episode the other day.
That's so
No
good.
joke.
I saw somebody with a shirt that just said, I don't know you. That's my purse.
Oh, God, what a classic. That's got to be a top five King of the Hill episode.
Uh,
And I just said, let go of my purse.
uh,
You have been kicked in the testicles.
oh, man. I wonder what Ben Johnson said in the locker room after the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he was taking his shirt off.
No, no. Uh,
Blackhawks down 4-0 to the Ducks. This has been a truly awful sports weekend.
yeah, you know what's funny? It was 1-0 just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's unraveled quite a bit. Quite a bit. But hey, if you're a Jeff Kent fan, he's now in the Hall of Fame.
I hate Jeff Kent.
Okay, well, he's in the Hall of Fame.
That sucks. I just always hated his dumb face.
I just said how much it sucked. Hey, but look at this. He's in the Hall of Fame. I hate Jeff Kent.
Uh, and then the White Sox signed Anthony Kay to a 2-year deal.
They did.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
they signed. He was making his return from Japan.
That's right. He was overseas. I think the Cubs a few years ago was the last time he appeared in a major league game.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year, $12 million contract. I,
Hey, sometimes players go over there, they reinvent themselves, they come back, and they're effective for a little bit.
yeah. Um, so we'll see how that works out with him. He added a two-seamer to his pitch mix while he was there, and over 290 innings, he had a 2.53 ERA and a 21% strikeout rate, and a 54.5% ground ball rate.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Hey,
see how
might
that
as well
works
take
out.
a flyer. Why not?
And they got the money.
They do have the money. Well, they use all the money.
No, they will not.
Oh, it's 5-0 now. Cheapers.
So they lost 6-0 last game, and they're down five
Ooh.
nothing now. Oof.
That's like, I just think of the clip from Millhouse. Millhouse, you were supposed to keep watch. I was watching. I saw the whole thing. First it started falling over, then it fell over.
How far off did Bonds and Clemens? Uh,
Less than 5%.
so they're getting closer.
I have to actually look at the exact numbers, but that's what I saw summed up.
Oof.
At least for some of them, not all. I think I saw Bonds and somebody else was on there. I don't know if it was McGuire or Canseco, but I saw somebody. I saw Bonds on that initial tweet. I didn't read it in detail.
We'll see how that goes.
But hey, Sosa's in the Cubs Hall of Fame now.
That's true. Pete Rose will be eligible for the 2027 ballot.
You think he gets in?
No, no, no. I think Bonds has a better chance of getting in.
You're probably right.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I've said my piece. This was a depressing one.
Yeah, this weather sucks. Chicago sports suck. Bleh. Bleh. Bears fan puke. Bleh. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. How we grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or Swerski _sports _podcast on Instagram, ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter /X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like number New Yorkers. Smoking crack is not legal on planes. Bears 31 to -7. The Bears. Oh, when the Bears go bearing down.